Picture this. You're lying in bed at 2 a.m., staring at the ceiling, replaying every conversation, every moment, wondering where it all went wrong. Your phone sits there silent, mocking you. She used to text you constantly, and now, nothing. Here's what most men do in this situation. They panic. They send that long, emotional text. They call repeatedly. They show up at her door with flowers and apologies, and every single time, it pushes her further away. But what if I told you there's a completely different approach? What if the secret to winning her back isn't chasing her at all, but becoming the kind of man she can't stop thinking about? The kind of man who haunts her thoughts until she's the one desperately trying to get your attention? Stay with me for the next 20 minutes, because I'm about to share a psychological framework that will completely flip the script on how attraction works. This isn't just theory. This is about understanding the deep psychology of desire and using it to become genuinely irresistible. This isn't another get your ex back guide filled with manipulation tactics. This is about something far more powerful. Understanding why people pull away and how to become the kind of person they can't walk away from. Whether you're dealing with a breakup, someone losing interest, or you just want to become more attractive in general, the principles I'm sharing today will transform how you approach relationships forever. Here's the truth that most men never learn. Attraction isn't about what you say or do in the moment. It's about who you are. It's about the energy you carry, the confidence you project, and the life you've built for yourself. Today, I'm breaking down this transformation into 6 powerful sections, each building on the last. By the end, you won't just understand what makes someone irresistibly attractive. You'll know how to become that person yourself. The moment someone starts pulling away, every instinct in your body screams, "Fight for this." Your mind races with solutions. If I just explain myself better, if I just show her how much I care, if I just prove my love. Stop right there. Here's the counterintuitive truth that will change everything. The moment you stop fighting to keep someone, you become infinitely more attractive to them. Think about it from a psychological perspective. When you chase, you're communicating several things. You don't believe you deserve them naturally. Your happiness depends entirely on their approval. You have nothing better going on in your life. You'll accept any treatment just to keep them around. Now flip it. When you calmly accept their decision to leave, you're communicating. You know your worth and won't beg anyone to see it. You have a full, rich life that doesn't revolve around them. You respect both yourself and their choice. You're emotionally stable and secure. This acceptance isn't about giving up or not caring. It's about demonstrating the kind of inner strength that people find magnetic. When someone expects you to fall apart and you don't, it creates a powerful psychological shift. Suddenly, they're questioning everything. Why isn't he fighting for me? Maybe I made a mistake. Maybe he's already moving on. The key here is authentic acceptance, not performed indifference. You're not pretending not to care. You're genuinely choosing your own peace and growth over the drama of chasing someone who doesn't want to be caught. This acceptance becomes the foundation for everything that follows. Because once you truly accept the situation, you free up all that emotional energy to focus on what really matters. Becoming the best version of yourself. Now that you've mastered acceptance, it's time to understand one of the most powerful forces in human psychology: scarcity. Here's a question for you. How can someone miss you if you're always available? How can they appreciate your value if you're constantly reminding them of it? The answer is simple: they can't. Going silent isn't about punishment or playing games. It's about creating the psychological space necessary for attraction to rebuild. Think about it like a stretched rubber band. The more space you create, the stronger the pullback becomes. During this space, something magical happens in their mind. Without your constant presence, they start to fill in the gaps with memories, and here's the crucial part. Our minds have a tendency to remember the good times more vividly than the bad ones. This is called rosy retrospection bias, and it's working in your favor. But silence alone isn't enough. You need to make this time count. This isn't about sitting around waiting and hoping. This is about using this period to undergo a complete transformation. While they're dealing with the sudden absence of your attention, You're in the gym. You're pursuing goals you'd put on hold. You're rediscovering parts of yourself that got lost in the relationship. You're becoming genuinely more interesting, more accomplished, more attractive. The beauty of this approach is that it works regardless of the outcome. If they come back, they're coming back to a better version of you. If they don't, you've still won because you've become the kind of person who attracts better opportunities and relationships. Remember, the goal isn't to make them miss the old you. It's to make them discover a new you, one they never had the chance to lose. This is where most men completely miss the mark. They think attraction is about what you say or do in conversation. Wrong. Attraction is about who you are when no one's watching. Let me break this down into what I call the irresistibility framework, physical transformation. This isn't about becoming a bodybuilder overnight. It's about showing respect for yourself through how you treat your body. Hit the gym, but more importantly, develop discipline. Eat better, sleep better, dress better. When someone sees you've invested in yourself, they wonder what else has changed. Mental expansion. Read books that challenge your thinking. Learn new skills. Take on projects that excite you. Develop opinions about things that matter. Become someone whose conversation is genuinely interesting because you have genuine interests. Social elevation. Reconnect with friends you've neglected. Make new connections. Build a social circle that doesn't revolve around one person. When people see you thriving socially, it triggers something primal. Social proof. If others value your company, you must be valuable. Purpose activation. This is the big one. Find your mission. What are you building? What impact are you making? What legacy are you creating? A person with purpose is magnetic because they're not needy. They're focused on something bigger than themselves. Here's what happens when you implement this framework. You stop being the person who got left behind and become the person others don't want to leave behind. But here's the crucial part. You have to document this transformation, but subtly. Post about your achievements, your adventures, your growth, but not for them, for you, for your own accountability and celebration. When they inevitably check your social media, and they will, they don't see someone wallowing in self-pity. They see someone who's thriving, someone who's become more attractive than when they knew them. That creates a powerful psychological response, regret mixed with renewed attraction. Now we need to dive deep into the psychology of what actually creates lasting attraction. Most people get this completely wrong. Here's what doesn't create attraction: constant availability, agreeing with everything they say, making them the center of your universe, showing them how much you need them. Here's what does: having a life they want, to be part of maintaining your own opinions and boundaries, being genuinely happy with or without them, demonstrating growth and ambition. Let's talk about the power of emotional triggers. Human beings are emotional creatures who use logic to justify their feelings, not the other way around. This means you need to understand how to create positive emotional associations. Nostalgia. Occasionally share something that reminds them of good times you shared, but indirectly. Maybe it's a song, a place, a quote. You're not reaching out directly, but you're triggering emotional memories. Curiosity. Become unpredictable. If you always responded to texts immediately, start taking time. If you always stayed home on weekends, start going on adventures. Break the patterns they expect. Social proof. When they see others valuing your company, treating you well, enjoying your presence, it triggers competitive instincts. Suddenly they're not just missing you. They're worried someone else might claim you. Growth evidence. Show them you're becoming the person they always wanted you to be, or better yet, someone even more impressive than they imagined possible. The key to all of this is authenticity. You're not performing or pretending. You're genuinely becoming a more attractive person. The behaviors are just the natural result of internal transformation. When they start reaching out, and they will, your response needs to be calibrated perfectly. Not desperate, not cold, but mysteriously warm. Friendly, but not available. Interested, but not invested. This creates what psychologists call intermittent reinforcement. the most powerful form of behavioral conditioning. They get just enough positive response to keep them interested, but not enough to feel secure. It's the same principle that makes gambling addictive. Here's where we separate the amateurs from the masters. Anyone can become temporarily attractive through transformation and mystery. But maintaining that attraction long-term, that requires boundaries. Most people are terrified of setting boundaries because they think it will push others away. The truth is the opposite. Boundaries make you more attractive because they demonstrate self-respect and create the framework for a healthy dynamic. When they do reach out, here's your new operating system. Availability boundaries. You're no longer available 24/7. You have a life, commitments, priorities. They need to earn your time, not expect it as a given. Emotional boundaries. You're not their therapist, their emotional dumping ground, or their ego boost. You engage in positive, constructive conversations, but you don't get drawn into drama or manipulation. Respect boundaries. Any disrespect, gameplaying, or testing gets shut down immediately and calmly. You don't get angry or reactive, and you simply don't tolerate it. Investment boundaries. They need to match your energy and investment level. You're not carrying the entire conversation, making all the plans, or doing all the emotional labor. Here's the psychological magic of boundaries. They force people to step up to your level instead of you stepping down to theirs. When someone has to earn your attention, they value it more. When they have to respect your standards, they respect you more. But boundaries only work if you're willing to enforce them. This means being prepared to walk away if they're not met. And here's the beautiful paradox. The more willing you are to walk away, the less likely you'll need to. The person who used to take your attention for granted suddenly realizes they have to earn it. The person who used to dismiss your feelings suddenly realizes they need to consider them. The person who thought they could string you along suddenly realizes you have other options. This isn't about being difficult or playing hard to get. It's about having genuine standards and sticking to them. It's about knowing your worth and requiring others to recognize it too. We've reached the final and most important section. Everything we've covered so far has been building to this moment. The complete shift in your identity from someone who chases to someone who chooses. By now, if you followed this framework, something incredible has happened. You've transformed not just your external circumstances, but your internal reality. You've become genuinely more attractive, more confident, more purposeful. You've created space, triggered psychology, set boundaries, and demonstrated value. And yes, they've probably come back. They're reaching out, wanting to talk, suggesting you get together. The old you would have jumped at this chance, grateful for any attention, ready to go right back to the old dynamic. But you're not the old you anymore. Here's the moment of truth. Do you even want them back? This isn't a rhetorical question. This is the most important decision you'll make in this entire process. Because here's what's happened during your transformation. You've raised your standards. You've experienced what it feels like to have boundaries, to focus on your goals, to live without drama and neediness. Maybe you realize that the relationship wasn't actually that good. Maybe you see patterns you missed before. Maybe you understand that you were settling. Maybe you've simply outgrown what you once thought you wanted. Or maybe you do want to explore reconnecting, but only on completely different terms. Not as the desperate person who got left behind, but as the prize they're trying to win back. If you choose to reconnect, the dynamic is completely different now. You're not grateful for their attention. You're evaluating whether they deserve yours. You're not trying to prove your worth. You're assessing whether they can match it. You set the terms. I'm open to talking, but I'm not interested in going backward. If we're going to explore this, it needs to be something completely new, with both of us bringing our best selves to it. This position of strength changes everything. They can't fall back into old patterns because you won't allow it. They can't take you for granted because you won't accept it. They have to step up because that's the only way to keep your attention. But here's the ultimate plot twist. Whether they rise to meet your new standards or not, you win. If they do, you get a genuinely better relationship. If they don't, you get clarity and can move forward to find someone who will. The real victory isn't getting them back. It's becoming the kind of person who doesn't need to get anyone back because people don't want to leave in the first place. Everything I've shared with you today comes down to one simple truth. You have the power to completely transform not just this situation, but how you show up in every relationship for the rest of your life. But knowledge without action is worthless. So here's what you're going to do. Step 1. Make the decision right now that you're done being the person who chases, who begs for attention, who accepts less than you deserve. That version of you ends today. Step 2. Start implementing the acceptance phase immediately. Stop all contact, stop checking their social media, stop talking about them to friends. Create complete space. Step 3. Begin your transformation protocol today. Join a gym, sign up for that class, start that project you've been putting off. Become genuinely more interesting. Step 4. Document your journey, but for you, not for them. Track your progress, celebrate your wins, build evidence of your growth. Step 5. Set up your boundary system now before you need it. Decide what you will and won't accept, and commit to enforcing those standards. This isn't just about one person or one situation. This is about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts healthy, lasting relationships. It's about developing the confidence and self-worth that makes you genuinely irresistible. The person who left you behind, they're going to see what they gave up. But more importantly, you're going to see what you're capable of becoming. Your transformation starts now, not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready. Now. Because the most attractive thing you can be is someone who values themselves enough to demand better and has the strength to walk away if they don't get it. Remember, they will come back. But by then you might just realize you're too valuable to settle for anything less than extraordinary. The power is in your hands. Use it.